Hello everyone, my name is Keely. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome to another reading vlog. So it is officially August 1st, which means it is time for a new month, and it is also the month that I am moving. So before I pack up all my books, I want to read as much as my physical TBR as I can this week, because my books will be put away for quite some time, and so I just want to read the books that I own so I can get them off my TBR. So I thought, what better way than to introduce my little TBR ghost jar. So I have a lot of prompts in Mr. Ghosty here. We need to name him. So if you can think of a name, comment down below and maybe I'll choose one of those. But I have a lot of prompts in here, and throughout this first week of August, I'm just going to be drawing prompts out of here and hopefully matching up books to whatever prompt it gives us. Okay, so let's go ahead and take our first draw. I have to take his little head off, but let's see what's in here. I hope we get a good one. Now, I might also have an ebook or two in here, but let's see. Okay, this first one, what's it gonna be? I'm really scared. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, if you can see this, it says lowest rated. Oh no, that's not a good start. So let me pull up Goodreads and see what my lowest rated book is. So on my Goodreads Want to Read, I have all of my physical TBR as well as my NetGalley TBR, but for the purposes of trying to read my physical TBR, for this prompt, I'm only going to pick my lowest rated physical TBR book. So let's see, I have on my Want to Read, average rating, I gotta switch it to lowest, and I'm really scared what it is gonna be. I gotta reverse it. Here we go, it's loading. Okay, it has loaded, and actually, the book that it chose, I'm actually really excited about. So this book, let me go get it. So the book it chose for me was The Boy with the Bookstore, and the average rating on Goodreads is 3.18. Which is not great. Like, that's almost a 2-star. But this is about a bookstore owner and a bakery owner. I was honestly going to read this in one of my foodie romance vlogs, but the prompt jar, the prompt ghost, has spoken. So this is the first book I will be reading. Once I get into it, I will tell you more about it. I also recently bought this book on a vacation I went on in June, so I'm really excited for it. And you know what? I'm not gonna let the lowest rating get me down, because if there's anything I do on BookTube, it's have an unpopular opinion. So maybe I'll love this, but of course, once I get into it, I will let you know. Okay, if I look really flushed right now, it is because track and field started for the Olympics today, day one, and it is already absolutely insane. I was literally on my knees screaming at my TV during the men's 10,000, and my throat hurts, but we got a medal for the first time in 56 years in the men's 10,000. That field was stacked. It was amazing. So just know, for the next few weeks, the Olympics is my full-time job, and so I'm probably going to be talking about it on this video, but I also need to update you on The Boy and the Bookstore, or The Boy with the Bookstore, because I am 125 pages into this. So let me give you a synopsis. So we follow Joelle, who owns a bakery, and Max, who owns a bookstore, and they are neighbors in business. They are kind of in the same building, have the same landlord, and they have a really good kind of friendship relationship. They flirt a lot. Like, Max comes into her bakery every morning to get a little treat, and they really flirt, and Joelle really wants to ask him out, and she's finally working up the nerve, but she is so awkward, and she constantly says the wrong thing, and some of the things she says, I'm like, girl, use your brain to think a little bit before you actually speak. But they have this kind of flirtationship, which leads to a little bit more, and then something happens where the landlord is like, I'm actually going to renovate the building, so you two have to move into this garage out back together and share the business, which is not great because the garage is very small, so they're trying to fit a bakery and a bookstore in there, and things kind of start going off the rails from there because they start disagreeing, they start fighting, they start bickering, and Max is clearly going through something, and he is kind of taking it out on Joelle, but also Joelle is quite petty as well. So this is a quick read, and I love the setting of the bakery, and I love the bookstore as well. And the bakery Joelle has is actually a Filipino bakery, so hearing about all the tasty treats and snacks she makes are amazing. They sound so delicious. But my problem here with this is Joelle and Max are very immature and petty against each other. Like, some of the things they do to each other is just, I'm like, why? Like, can you not put yourself in the other person's shoes for half a second? Like, one of the things is she takes her hamster to work with her every day. First of all, taking your pet to, like, your bakery sounds a little weird. And one day the hamster gets out and eats some of Max's books, and they're like special, antique, super expensive books, and she's like, why are you so upset? And I'm like, Those are hundreds of dollars that you just let your hamster eat. And there's just like a bunch of stuff that goes off from there. So I really don't like the pettiness between them. I am still liking the book, but I can totally see why this has lower ratings, because the disagreements and the arguments they have are not great, and it's kind of annoying, honestly. But I think I'm at the part where they're starting to understand each other more and realize why at times they're kind of grumpy or messed up, because they do have behind the scenes stuff going on, and their family life or their home life might not be the best thing, and so they're just taking it out on each other, which isn't a great situation. But I think we're starting to see a little turn in this relationship between them two, and I'm hoping it becomes less petty. Now, don't get me wrong, I love petty things, but in my books, not so much. So, like I said, 125 pages in. I'm hoping to read more of it today. Track and field is over for today. I think right now basketball is on, so I'm going to continue watching that. I am not kidding. Right now, I am unemployed, and being unemployed during the Olympics is the greatest thing, because it is my full-time job. I wake up at like 6 in the morning, turn on the Olympics, rewatch anything I might have missed in the middle of the night. I watch it all, and then when primetime comes on in the afternoon, I watch everything all over again. I have seen every medal happen. Like, I am invested. I always am. I love athletics. I love sports. And now that it's track and field, it's like my time to shine. But anyway, I'm going to go sit down, watch basketball, and then I'm going to read more of my book. I probably won't finish today, but it's looking like tomorrow might be the day that I finish this book. And I'm kind of excited to draw from my ghost jar again. Okay, I have to make this kind of quick because track for the Olympics is currently on, which is my thing. So I'm watching that right now. They're about to run the 1500, and let me just tell you the devastation that happened this morning in the decathlon. Two of my favorites, two of the top contenders from Norway and Canada, messed up their chances. So complete devastation at like 6 a.m. But I just finished The Boy with the Bookstore, and I definitely agree with the low rating on this one. So this book had two of my biggest buzzwords, bookstores and baking. And those two elements in this book were fantastic. They were honestly the best part of this book for me. The way that the food was described sounded absolutely delicious. Now, unfortunately, those were the only two positive things I really felt about this book. Ultimately, I don't think Max and Joelle are compatible at all. They kept getting into these fights where I just felt like Joelle could not see from Max's point of view at all. Like, I felt like she was very, very naive, and Max keeps describing Joelle as very kind and very generous, but she never tried to put herself in someone else's shoes to see why they might be acting a certain way, and I felt like she did that to Max a lot, and it just really rubbed me the wrong way, because she never tried to understand why he was making the decisions he was, and she was just judging him for those decisions instead. So I did not like the romance, and you know, romance books are all about the romance, and this romance fell completely flat for me. So I'm giving it 2 stars, which is actually below the Goodreads average rating. So I will be unhauling this one, which is sad because I bought this at like one of my favorite bookstores of all time on my recent vacation. I actually did a whole vlog about that, so if you haven't watched it, go watch it. But 2 stars for this one. It will not be coming to Colorado with me. All right, now that I finished that book, it is time to draw from Mr. Ghosty again. All right, let's see. I was gonna say, like, try to think of something I want, but I cannot even remember all the ones that are in here. I got one. Let's see what it is. Ooh, okay. Let's see. We have random number generator. Perfect. So for random number generator, I have every single TBR book I own, physical and NetGalley and Kindle, all on a spreadsheet. So what I'm gonna do is do a random number generator based on that spreadsheet. I think there's like 500 or something. I'm not kidding. I have way too many NetGalley books. So the odds of it landing on a NetGalley book are very, very high. So I'm just gonna do a random number generator for those on the spreadsheet, and I will let you know what number we get. Okay, so the spreadsheet starts at number 2 and it goes up to 526. So I have it here and we're gonna generate, and let's see, what did it get? 62. Okay, we got a low number, and these are set in alphabetical order. So let's see what 62 is. Oh, 62 is a book that I have already read. So we have got to regenerate. It landed on Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, which I already read and gave 5 stars. So let's generate again. 278. All right, we got a 3-digit one here this time. 278 is, drumroll please, ooh, Other Terrors, which is an horror anthology. So this is what the cover looks like. This is a NetGalley book for me, so I will be reading it on my Kindle, but I'm excited to get some horror in. All right, I am at 24% of the way other horrors, and this cover is stunning. I'm obsessed with it. I've had this arc for a while. I believe this came out in 2022, so no wonder I have so many NetGalley books, because do I ever actually get to them when I'm supposed to? No, and I'm trying to be better about that this year, so I'm glad that the random number generator and the ghost jar landed on this one. But this anthology short story collection I told you is horror, and it's based on monsters, but not the type of monsters you think. So the tagline on here says, this showcases authors from historically excluded backgrounds that tell terrifying tales of what it means to be or merely to seem other. So there are like some stories already where it does have the typical monsters that you think of, like werewolves, vampires, shadow monsters, things like that. But then sometime in these stories, the monster is literally just a man, which, like, true. And then other ones like that, the monster may be you, or it's just people who typically seem other. So this collection is very, very diverse, and I'm reading from authors I've read from before, and then some authors I've never read from as well. Now that I'm 24% of the way through, I've read 5 stories, so I'll go over them real quick. The first one was Other Fears by Christina Singh. This one was like a 3-minute long poem, so it was very, very quick. It was just told in verse. It was good, but it was so short, it was hard to like have complete thoughts about it, so I gave it 4 stars. The next one is Idiot Girls by Jennifer McMahon. This is an author I've read from before. At first, the story, I was like, I'm not sure about this one. I don't know if I like where this is going, but she did not disappoint with the ending, and the way it wrapped up, I was like, okay, I like that one. So I gave that one 4 stars as well. Number 3 was Waste Not by Alma Katsu. I've also read from her before. This one, I think, was one of my favorites. Either this one or the Jennifer McMahon so far anyway. This one was also interesting, and I really liked how it ended. So I gave that one 4 stars as well. No 5 stars so far. Number 4 was Night Shopper by Michael H. Hansen. I've never read anything from this author. I gave this one 3 stars. This one was one where it was like more like monsters that you think about. Number 5 was Scrape by Denise Dumars. This one didn't really care for. I gave this one 2 stars, and I thought it was kind of boring overall. But 5 stories in, it's going well overall, and I'm so interested to read from a lot of these authors and basically to hear them tell their stories, because a lot of these stories you could tell are like own voices from the heart, because it is told from authors who are often seen as other by people. And I like that the editor that came up with this collection is like giving stories these voices and things like that. So far so good. 24% of the way through. Hopefully I find a 5-star story, because so far 5 in, I haven't yet, but I feel like I will. I usually do. I love short story collections and anthologies, and obviously there are hits, there are misses, and I usually do have a 5-star, and because these are horror short stories, I feel like short stories are the best when it's horror, so we'll see. Good morning. I am watching gymnastics, but I'm also reading other terrors, and I made it 40% of the way through, so I thought I would update you on the next 5 stories that I've read. So the next one was Mud Flappers by Usman T. Malik, and I gave that one 2 stars. I honestly don't even remember it, so not great. The next one, Turn the Unturning Tide by Annie Neugebauer, I gave that one 1 star. I don't understand it. There was nothing horrifying about it. I don't understand what was really going on, so not great. And then there's Always Something in the Woods by Gabino Iglesias, and I gave that one 3 stars. It was okay, but you know, not the best. Number 9 was The Turning by Haley Piper. This is the best one by far. I gave this one 5 stars, so my first 5-star read from this collection. This one is about teenagers who go through this change and turn into dinosaurs. Really fascinating. I really liked that one, and I liked how it was written, because it was written as told by weeks, like week 1 this happened, week 2 this happened. And then number 10, Help, I'm a Cop by Nathan Carson. This one, not sure about. I gave this one 3 stars, but I'm like, I don't really understand the purpose. I really liked the writing of it though, so I gave it 3 stars. But 10 stories in, you know, things were kind of dipping a little bit, so hopefully the middle stories get a little bit better. I think there's 24 stories in total in this. I might be wrong because it doesn't say it on the cover, but counting like the authors and stuff, I think there's 24 stories. So 40% of the way through. I'm hoping to finish it today. The thing is with short story collections and anthologies, I read them so quickly because anytime my Kindle is like, oh, this story is only 15 minutes long, I'm like, oh, well, might as well read it. And then the next one might be like 11 minutes, and I'm like, oh, well, might as well read it. So I go through them really quickly. So I am hoping to finish today. I am also planning on starting to pack. I haven't started to pack, and I leave in like almost a week to move out of state. And I have like 700 books, and I haven't started packing. So as I'm watching the Olympics today, I am going to maybe start packing. We'll see if I actually do that. But until then, I will continue reading. Okay, I've started packing, and it's stressful. I hate it. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but you know, it'll all work out. But I've also read 5 more stories in Other Terrors, and now I am 57% of the way through. And let me just tell you, these 5 stories were not good. So, number 11, Misinfection USA by Shanna Heath. I gave this one 2 stars. It was about like a zombie beauty pageant, something like that. And then number 12, All Not Ready by Tracy Cross. I gave it 1 star. This one I don't even remember. Oh, do I remember? See, a lot of these I'm like, I'm not gonna remember that, and clearly I don't, and it's only been a few minutes. Number 13, Illusions of the Devolved by Linda D. Addison. This one was literally like a 30-second poem. I don't like poetry, so I didn't understand it, so I gave it 1 star. Number 14, Black Screams, Yellow Stars by Maxwell L. Gold. I gave this one 2 star. A lot of these just like aren't big time like horror for me. I want to like really feel the emotion, and I just haven't. And then number 15, Hell Crease by Larissa Glasser. I gave this one 1 star. This one, it was like 30 minutes long, so it was one of the longer ones, and it was like about ancient Rome or something. I really could not follow along. I did not know what was happening. And like I said, I'm just kind of disappointed because as we're going further and further, I feel like we're getting less and less horror. And with a horror anthology, I want more horror and horrifying tales. And I felt like we got that more at the beginning. But I still have like about 10 or so short stories left. So hopefully they get more horrifying, because right now these ones in the middle are kind of missing. I think I might be dumb, because I am 75% of the way through Other Terrors, and some of these stories just are simply not making sense. Like, I don't know. I've read 5 more since then. So story number 16, The Devil Don't Come with Horns by Eugen Bacon, 1 star. I thought that I didn't know English anymore. Like, as I was reading, I was like, do I even speak this language? I don't know, because nothing made sense. So 1 star for that one. Number 17, Invasive Species by Anne de Villa Cardinal, 2 stars. I already forgot. Don't really remember, so not going great. And number 18 was No Better, The Asylum by Holly Lynn Walrath, 1 star. A lot of these I'm like, I just don't get it. I don't understand what happened. I'm so confused. I don't understand. Do I even know how to read? I don't know. But then things started going a little bit better because Tiddlywinks, which is a funny name, Tiddlywinks by Stephen Graham Jones, I gave 4 stars, which I was pleasantly surprised because I DNF'd 1 book by him. I started reading, I can't remember, My Heart is a Chainsaw, and I DNF'd it because I hated the writing, but Tiddlywinks, 4 stars. And then 20 was Where the Love Light Gleams by Michael Thomas Ford, and I gave this one 5 stars. Yes, I finally found another one that I actually like. So this one was interesting because it was about like shapeshifters, which I love shapeshifting like horror. I just love that because of the TV show Supernatural. But that one was good. I'm not sure exactly how many I have left. I have like 4 or 5 left. So I will update you the next time when I am finally finished with this book. It started out promising, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so we will find out my ultimate rating once I have finished all of the stories. Alright, I am really tired, but I just finished Other Terrors, so I'm going to wrap this up really quick. So from where I left off, It Comes in Waves by Jonathan Lees. I give this one 1 star. I truly don't understand. Like, I at this point don't even know if I know English. The next one, The Voices of Nightingales by Emmy Bronstein, 1 star. Sorry to these authors, but I do not have the brain cells to understand what you're writing. Like, a lot of the authors I'd never read from before, I just could not get into their writing. The next one, What Blood Hath Wrought by S.A. Cosby. I gave this one 5 stars, so another good one. This was my first ever story by S.A. Cosby, and I've heard great things about him. This one was kind of like a hostage situation in a diner in the middle of the night with a twist. And then the very last story, Incident at Bear Creek Lodge by Tananarive Due. I give this one 4 stars. This was also my first book by, or first story by this author, and I have wanted to read from her before. This one was like set at a snowy, isolated lodge with some family secrets. So what I did to get my rating is I added up all my star ratings together, divide it by the number of the stories, and it came out perfectly to a 2.5. Now I don't give half stars, so I am giving it my rating, which I am giving this short story collection a 2-star. I would not recommend it. I am excited though that I did read like S.A. Cosby, Tana Review, like things like that, but most of these authors I will not be picking up again. So let me go get my little ghost friend and we can draw it for our next pick. And we've had 2 2-star reads, so we really need a good one. Okay, Mr. Ghosty, give us something good, please. I need something good. Okay, so we're gonna get this one. What is it? Random letter by author name. All right, there you go. So what I'm going to do with this one is do a random letter generator, and it is going to give me a letter, and the author name has to start with that letter. Okay, so I have a spinner wheel here. We are going to spin the wheel and get a letter. I really don't have a preference at this point. Hopefully I can find a physical book that matches the letter though. So what is it going to give us? It will give us a W. Why does that have to be the absolute one of the hardest ones? Hold on. Okay, I've chosen a book where there's a W in the author's name. So this is The End of October by Lawrence Wright. There's the W. And I am not sure if I'm going to like this or not because I've never read from this author. I haven't heard anyone talk about this book. I know it involves a like pandemic or something, which I enjoy reading about. So maybe I'll like it. But this could also potentially be one of those books that I quickly DNF if it's not working for me, which would be great because that means if I don't like it, then I don't have to pack it to move with me. You can see I've started like emptying some shelves back here, but I am hoping I like it. I remember I saw this in Half Price Books one day and I was like, that sounds so interesting. So I got it. I've had it for a while, so now I'm getting it off my shelves, whether I love it or not, but we will see. I'm gonna be starting it tomorrow, so I will let you know once I have read it, or no, once I have started it and I can tell you about it. Good morning. So plans have changed since we last talked. So my TBR ghost told me to read a book with a random letter by author name, and I got W. So we chose The End of October and I have DNF'd it. I got 15 pages in, so I'm not even counting it as like an official DNF. But those 15 pages, I was like, I don't like the writing. There were too many big words. The thing is, I like plague books, but I don't want it to be too sciencey, and I felt like at the beginning of this one was way too sciencey, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I did some scouring to try to find another author who has the W at the beginning of their first or last name. I looked at my shelves, I looked at Libby, I looked on Kindle Unlimited, and I could not figure out anything for the longest time. It took me a long time, but I finally settled on a book. So on Kindle Unlimited, I found The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods, and I was immediately intrigued because this one is about books. It's about people who love books. It is basically one of those books that is written for book lovers. And this one is also historical fiction with like a little magic twist. So we follow 3 different characters and we get their point of view. So we have 3 different point of views, which I love multi-POV stories. So the first one we follow is Opaline, and Opaline is set in 1920s era, and she is kind of the side character in her life, and she wants to become the main character. Her mother and her brother want to marry her off, and she's like, nuh-uh. So she escapes to Paris, and there is a kind of magical bookshop that is kind of intertwining all these characters, because the next character we follow is Martha, and she is doing the same thing. She moves to a brand new city, has no idea what she's doing with her life, so she finds a job as a housekeeper. The third person we follow is Henry, who is looking for this mysterious lost bookshop. So all 3 of these characters are tired of being side characters, and they officially want to become these main characters in their life, and this lost secret bookshop might be what connects everyone together. So on Goodreads, it says, Opaline, Martha, and Henry have been the side characters in their own lives, but when a vanishing bookshop casts its spell, these 3 unsuspecting strangers will discover that their own stories are every bit as extraordinary as the ones found in the pages of their beloved books. So I am so into it already. I am, I think, 25% of the way through. I love Opaline. Like, girl, yes, you need to get away from your mother and your brother. I love her recounting of Paris, and and she goes to work for Shakespeare and Company, and it's just so nice. I love Shakespeare and Co. so much, and hearing like about the 1920s time period is also really, really great. Martha is not my favorite. She has a very tragic backstory, which I'm not going to tell you about, but I also feel like she's kind of dumb, not because of what she's been through, not because of that, but like she's out here being like, oh, the Chronicles of Narnia are books? I thought they were just movies, and I just can't stand that. And so I just feel like she is like dumb because there's some of the things that she says, and I'm waiting to find out exactly what she has against books, because right now she just keeps saying that she's intimidated by them, so I know there's probably a background story there. And then Henry is really fascinating because he is kind of a searcher and explorer of antique books and old books, and he loves to ask questions, and he's out there looking for Opaline's story and the Lost Bookshop, because Martha and Henry are set like in the present timeline. So their paths like kind of intertwine, and I'm curious, I'm interested, especially about this Lost Bookshop, because I'm like, where would it have gone? Does it only appear for certain people or what? But I am so intrigued with it. I have been wanting to read more historical fiction because every time I read it, I absolutely love it. And I think the kind of added element of this mysterious, magical Lost Bookshop even makes it more intriguing. So I'm gonna keep reading today. The rest of my plans for today are watching the Olympics, of course, because that's my full-time job right now. Olympics, reading, and then I'm gonna film a book haul. And at first I was like, you know what, I need to film this book haul, but I don't think I'm going to because I've started packing my books. But I had an idea. I can do a hauling books and packing books video. So as I haul them, I pack them up. So it's kind of like 2-in-1 right there. So I'm gonna be filming that a little bit later. It's like 8:15 a.m. right now, so I'm just gonna sit down, watch skateboarding on the Olympics, and read, and I will update you probably when I am maybe halfway through, maybe further, we'll see. So you can see behind me, I've started making a lot of progress. After this clip, I'll probably actually like take you around and show you. My room is chaotic right now. It is so hard to move around because I have just like bins of books everywhere, but I'm making progress. I've also made progress in my book, The Lost Bookshop. I think I'm 44% of the way through, and I'm still really intrigued. We have started to see more of the mysterious bookshop, and actually in the old timeline, we get to see the introduction of the bookshop and kind of figure out where it came from and get to see some of its whimsicalness, its eccentricities, and like the weird things that happen around it. I am finding I enjoy the older timeline a lot more than the newer timeline. However, in both timelines, there's cheating. Like, why? Why? First of all, I hate cheating. It automatically docks a star for me in any book. And the fact that it's in both timelines, I'm like, are these people more connected than I think they are? I don't know, but why are they all cheating? That's the thing. So that is not great. So we'll see how that progresses throughout the rest of the story. But so far I'm really intrigued, and we're actually in Ireland now. So we've left Paris, we are in Ireland, and the mysterious bookshop is actually located in Ireland. So I'm enjoying the different settings and traveling and seeing all the different places. But yes, so far it's going okay, but the cheating has really, you know, hindered my enjoyment. But I did film my book haul / packing video today, and now I'm going to show you the chaos of my room. Okay, so you can see on the floor here I have bins. I have this cart completely full of books. You can see this shelf is empty, and those shelves are empty as well, and I have just like bins everywhere. I have a second cart here that's getting full, boxes. I'm filling that bin right now, but it's just like, you know, chaos. There's not a lot of walking room, but these are the shelves that I need to tackle next. Unfortunately, there's a lot of hardcovers, so that's going to be heavy, but we can do it. I just finished the Lost Bookshop, and I did enjoy it, but I also had a few problems with it, and most of my problems were the characters. Like I said, there was cheating. Every character in here, every point of view was involved in cheating at some point, which is just not something that I enjoy reading about. I don't think I can forgive it or excuse it in any sort of way. I also felt like the romance, I like would roll my eyes at. Every time the romance would come up in the book, I just kind of wanted to get past it and get on with the story. I loved the idea of the magical bookshop. I am not a fantasy reader, and I have found that I love stories that just have a hint of magic in them. So just like a little tiny bit of fantasy. So if it is set in the real world and there is some kind of unexplainable magic, that is what I love, because I'm one of those people that if you write it, if you tell me it in a book, I'm gonna believe you. I don't have to suspend my disbelief and be like, but how is this happening? Why is this happening? I just like that it's happening, and I love how this bookstore was lost and it's magical, and we get to kind of unravel that mystery as we go. I did also prefer the older timeline versus the newer, although there was a part in the older timeline that started making me really angry, and so I was really worried about the rest of the book, but it did get resolved in a way that I liked and enjoyed. I also mentioned one of the characters, Martha. Her lack of book knowledge was really annoying and sometimes dumb, and I understand that if you're not a reader, you may not know certain things, but one of the things she said was she was literally in a master's program for literature, and she said, I didn't know there were graphic novels. What? Like, how? Even if you're not a graphic novel reader, you know that they exist. And I just don't understand. I just don't get it. So they were just like those little things. But I did like the story overall. I was hoping that I would enjoy it more, because at the beginning I was like, this could change my life. But it didn't, so I'm just gonna give it 3 stars, which is better than the other books that I've read in this vlog so far. But we are gonna draw again from Mr. Ghosty, and hopefully I can get a really good book this time, because it's been a while. Okay, we have my ghost here. Time to take his little head off. And let's do this. Now the thing is, I have completely packed all my books. There are no more books on my shelves, so I can't read any physical books anymore. So hopefully this is a prompt where I can read from the library or Kindle Unlimited. So what do I have? Oh, okay, this is a good one. It says, read a romance book. Oh yes, okay, if I've said it already in this vlog, I don't know if I have. I've been in the huge romance mood this year. So this is great. So let me peruse Kindle Unlimited and Libby and see which one kind of strikes my fancy right now. Okay, I am back after perusing Libby and Kindle Unlimited, and I have decided to go with The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This was on KU, and I was pleasantly surprised that this was on there. I have heard really, really good things about this book and Catherine Center in general, and this will actually be my first book by her, so I'm hoping I love it. I'm pretty sure this is a book about the woman who's a bodyguard and a prince maybe, and then the romance between them, but I know she's the bodyguard, so I'm really excited for this romance, and I just hope it's as good as everyone says. So I'm actually going to sit down, watch the Olympics. Men's volleyball is currently on, and I am going to read The Bodyguard. I'm so excited, and I'm so glad that this is a romance, because hopefully that means I will finally get a good book in this vlog. We are at an angle that you have currently never seen in my room, but my room is completely chaotic from packing, and there's not a whole lot of space in here to film, so at least this has good lighting right here. But I have made a lot of progress in The Bodyguard. I am now 40% of the way through, and I was wrong about this man being a prince. He is a very famous actor, which is even better in my opinion. I love actors, but he is incredibly famous, one of the men, like world's sexiest men 2 years in a row, so he's very, very famous. So we follow this girl Hannah, and she works for a protection agency. It's like this hardcore agency. They protect some of the richest people in the world, and she is put on assignment to protect Jack Stapleton, this famous actor. And now Jack's mom is sick, so he doesn't want his mom to know that he needs bodyguard, needs protection, so he tells Hannah, you're gonna pretend to be my girlfriend so that we don't stress my mom out and make her sickness even worse. So there's fake dating, but there's also a lot of family trauma in here, because Jack has had some very traumatic things happen in the past that we are slowly uncovering, as well as Hannah's side of things. Her story is also pretty tragic, and there are some characters in here that I just want to punch in the face because I'm just so mad at them. My camera is about to die, so I have to like wrap this up. But I am loving this book so much. The banter is so good. I love the fake dating. This is also set in Texas, which is where I live, so a lot of the Texas vibes are there, and I think it's a great book for me to end out my living in Texas season of my life, and I'm just really, really enjoying it. The romance is so cute, but I also love the deeper parts of the story as well. But yes, I'm gonna go continue reading this book, and I might finish it today as well. So I just finished The Bodyguard and I absolutely loved it. I loved the banter and chemistry between Hannah and Jack, and I was rooting for them like immediately. I also became obsessed with this book like pretty immediately. I loved hearing about Hannah's job as a bodyguard and seeing how the whole thing worked and seeing the company and meeting the different characters there, although I wanted to punch some of them in the face. I also loved that we got to meet Jack's family and see his connection with his parents and his brother, because there's a lot of trauma there, and so a lot of things had to get resolved, and I loved seeing the relationships heal and go throughout the story. This romance also was high stakes because of Hannah's job and the threats that Jake deals with. There was some high stakes things at the end there, and overall I really enjoyed how this ended and the entire story throughout it, so I'm giving it 5 stars. I'm so pleased because this vlog was not going well, and so it is so nice to finally love a book again. But also, I think I'm gonna draw another one. I honestly don't know how many more I'm gonna draw. I think I'm just gonna keep drawing and reading books until I leave. And I still have like 6 days here, so we'll see what happens. But I have my little ghost with me here. He still doesn't have a name, and I'm gonna draw out of here. Like I said, I don't have any more physical books that I can reach right now because they're all packed away. So let's see what we have here. Ooh, okay, let's see. This is a Rick Riordan Presents book. Okay, so if you don't know, the author Rick Riordan from Percy Jackson, he also has an imprint called Rick Riordan Presents, where he highlights different mythologies, and so we get to see a lot of different cultures and history and things like that, and just hear stories from different people. And so he has a bunch of books under this, and I have been reading all of the series, so I need to go check and see what's available to me, and then I will let you know. The last time I talked to you, I told you I had 6 days before I moved. I don't know what I was thinking, because I had 3 days. It is now Sunday, and it's been a few days since that last update because I've been reading the book I chose, and I didn't feel like updating because I wasn't loving my book, so I wasn't encouraged to update. I have also been, of course, getting all my stuff ready because I am leaving to move to Colorado tomorrow. So this will be my final update. So let me tell you what book I chose for the Rick Riordan Presents prompt. So I decided to go with The Lords of Night by J.C. Cervantes. This is book 1 in the Shadow Bruja series, which is also a spin-off series to his The Storm Runners. And I told you that all of these books under this imprint are all about different mythologies. So J.C. Cervantes' book in general are about Aztec and Mayan mythology. So we see a lot of that influence, mainly Mayan, but you do see a little bit of Aztec in it as well. So in this one, we follow a 14-year-old girl who we met in the first series, and now in this series, she is going on her own quest. So the thing I have discovered with these Rick Riordan Presents books is that they do not stick in my mind. Like, I could read a page and then the next page completely forget about what I had just read. They're just kind of forgettable to me, and every time I read one, I'm just like, didn't love it. So I'm giving this one 3 stars, and the reason why I keep continuing to read them is because I am still chasing that Percy Jackson high, and I'm hoping one of these authors will be able to give me that. But I think I'm discovering no one is even close to Rick Riordan, because he is the best at this. But I still will continue because I also like learning about all the different cultures and stuff. The characters are fun, everything, you know, there's nothing bad about these books. They're just forgettable to me because they don't live up to the level of Percy Jackson. So, got to read several books in this video thanks to my TBR ghost. Again, we need to name him, so if you think of anything, leave it down below. But like I said, I am leaving tomorrow, so I'm closing out this vlog. We did come away with 1 5-star. The rest of the books, I don't think were that great if I remember all the books I've read in here. But that is it for this video. If you have made it this far, go ahead and leave the ghost emoji, of course. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, all my social media links will be down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!